All right, Strike community, welcome back to another live stream. Thank you, absolutely everyone, for joining. Today, we're going to be doing a recap on our exciting announcement from yesterday, and also mainly focusing on Q&A, opening the floor up for your questions. And you can start putting those questions in the chat now on both YouTube and Facebook, and I will be answering those live. So for anyone who doesn't know yet, we had an exciting new announcement yesterday. We announced the next generation Stryd foot pod, and let's take a look at that. And what's going to strike you immediately is the new materials and new design for the foot pod. On the left, we can see the bottom of the next generation Stryd. We can see the next generation clip with the dual silicon anchoring. And on the right, we can see the top of the next generation Stryd. And on the back, we can see the new aerospace grade aluminum mount. And I'm going to be jumping into all these details and talking about them in depth. So for the next generation Stryd, it features next generation sensors, materials, and design. So let's jump in and take a look at the sensors first. The next generation sensors are providing 4 times the dynamic range. And this dynamic range is finding things in your run that have not been previously, discoverable by Stryd. So there's always been more to discover in your runs. And with the upgraded sensing capability, the next generation Stryd will find it. The 4 times the dynamic range picks up even your highest performance efforts. The next feature of the next generation sensors is a 6 times sample frequency. So the sample frequency is the number of data points taken in a given time interval. And this 6 times sample frequency enables Stryd to look at every step you take in finer detail than ever before. More vital components of your run are being analyzed to uncover more data. And this ultimately means your run is being captured in unparalleled millimeter and sub-millisecond precision to give you unprecedented insights. And finally, to round out the new hardware features, we have improved hardware filtering. This means the next gen Stryd is capturing everything that matters and discarding what doesn't. So the hardware filtering is done on analog sensors before the data digitization. And this is basically filtering out all that noise that is just not useful to Stryd to analyze, and really capturing that hardcore signal for Stryd to analyze. And what all these sensors and next gen materials, next gen design is doing, it's really upgrading the data quality. It's maximizing the data quality. And now we're going to talk about the sensors and materials on how these create unparalleled stability. And with unparalleled stability, Stryd is really capturing the core motion of your run better. And ultimately, this leads to better, data accuracy, data insights, and enables us to provide a lot more features. So as we talked about earlier, one of the most noticeable features of the next generation Stryd is the aerospace grade aluminum mount, a combination of aerospace grade aluminum material and a number of other material upgrades basically give Stryd a new level of ruggedness and strength, and really stabilizes Stryd like never before on the next generation Stryd clip and on the foot. And let's take a look at that next generation Stryd clip right here. And the next generation Stryd clip features double silicon anchoring. And effectively, as soon as you slide that clip under your shoelaces and it sits in there, it's going to be stable like never before. You're going to slide in there, it's not going to move because the pattern on the silicone, the stickiness, the grip of the silicone is going to grip to the lip of your shoe. It's going to grip to those laces, and it's going to keep Stryd anchored exactly where you put it. And finally, on the material design, we have the advanced fiber material enclosure. So for the first time, this enclosure now covers 100% of the pod in advanced fiber materials for that next level of strength and ruggedness I talked about. So when you combine that aerospace grade aluminum, the advanced fiber materials, the dual silicone anchoring on the clip, Stryd is anchored to the foot like never before, and it's creating a awesome next gen design that just feels, incredibly tough, rugged and, stable in your hand, even when you grab it for the first time, put on the shoe. And even more importantly, it is creating that next level stability, that unparalleled stability to enable new capabilities and insights for your run. So let's jump into the features now. And this next generation pod is enabling first up to 5x improved run power responsiveness. So the next gen Stride offers incredibly responsive power that truly delivers on the promise of running power, one metric to guide your run in any condition. You can now more quickly and more easily dial in the right intensity in any run condition with up to 5x improved power responsiveness. And as I talked about, this is all being enabled by those next gen materials, design, and sensors, plus with a breakthrough algorithm. And my impression of this and how I've been running, you're going to notice this on the very first run if you've been running with the previous generation version of Stride. Whether you're completing mixed intensity training, sprints, or running over varying terrain, you're going to dial in that power target a lot quicker and easier. And this is especially important if you're doing a structured workout. If you have a structured workout with power targets, power zones, and you're getting prompted on your Stride workout app on your Garmin watch or Apple Watch, you're going to get to those power targets a lot quicker. There's going to be less waiting for that power value to stable out and wait for it to respond to your change in effort. You're going to get to those intensities a lot quicker, so you can really complete the and comply with the workout and complete the workout the way it was intended a lot easier. And this power value is compatible with all sports watches. Any sports watch you use right now with Stride, whether it's Garmin watch, Apple Watch, or even a watch that doesn't have a Stride app like Coros, Sunto, Polar, Wahoo, this power value is going to be compatible with those watches. And we've actually taken a step further to really dial in the pacing experience and offer a tailored pacing experience for road, track, and trail. And this will be available on Stride's apps for both Garmin watches via the Stride Workout app and on the Stride Apple Watch app. And this gives you a tailored pacing experience for both road, track, and trail. So the road profile leverages Stride's improved responsiveness to get you to your target power quicker. The track profile brings Stride's most responsive power numbers so you can hit every split with wattage precision. And the trail profile gives Stride's most stable power number ever so you can stick to your power target even in conditions that change on a step-by-step basis. And this is really important, and this is something is uniquely enabled by the next generation Stride. We're basically leveraging that improved responsiveness, and we're tailoring that responsiveness to every condition. So there's always that question of stability versus responsiveness. And let's say on a trail condition where the conditions are changing on a step-by-step basis, the elevation's changing very quickly. The responsiveness can be hard to follow because you just can't, it's not possible for a runner to adapt that quickly. But when you have a tailored pacing profile and we're taking that responsive power value, we can actually deliver a very extremely accurate, meaningful power value that works really well for the trail. And on road and track, we can tune that responsiveness up to the best level, to the highest level, and enable you to reach your power targets a lot quicker for those mixed intensity workouts you'd be doing on road and track. And the benefits of the responsiveness do not stop there because we also offer sprint accuracy. And there's really two ways you can look at sprint accuracy. There's two great benefits that sprint accuracy offers. The first one is completing the picture, giving when Stride can track your sprints with higher accuracy, higher fidelity. It completes the picture of who you are as a runner. And the first big benefit of the sprint accuracy is, of course, guiding high intensity efforts. So let's say you're doing intervals on a track, and typically runners have to look at their splits on a 100-meter basis to see if they're hitting those splits right. And that can be really challenging because it's actually possible to kind of cheat when you're, just looking at your splits every 100 meters. You can speed up just a bit before that 100-meter mark, or you can coast if you know you've already put the effort in earlier in the 100 early in that 100-meter section and hit your splits consistently, but really your pacing is not very consistent. So when you have a power meter with sprint accuracy like Stride, you can check in on that at any point in your run, make sure you're actually hitting the intensity you mean to be hitting. And so you're not, for example, slowing down or speeding up at the end of those intervals so you can hit the right intensities on a 100-meter by meter basis. So this is going to be awesome for anyone doing 400-meter repeats, 800-meter repeats on the track. You're going to be able to use Stride to actually guide those high-intensity efforts on a second-by-second basis. And the second thing we can do with the sprint accuracy, as I talked about, is complete the picture. So we can fill in your power duration curve in the sub 10-second range and get a better idea of who you are as a runner, which ultimately influences your training targets and racing targets, which is simply awesome. So you're getting, sprint accuracy is helping guide you in the moment, but also it's giving you improved training and racing targets for every distance, every training session you go out and do. And those are all the incredible benefits enabled by Stride's 5 times improved responsiveness. Another major feature the next generation Stride is adding is lower body stress tracking. Sustain your performance with lower body stress tracking. With the next generation Stride, we're introducing a new feature to track lower body stress, and this will ultimately help you dial in your recovery and sustain peak performance. And this is driven by Stride's new metric called impact loading rate. Impact loading rate allows runners to quickly identify and work to recover from large changes in lower body stress that could be problematic. And specifically, what impact loading rate is capturing is how quickly your body is absorbing force when your foot comes in contact with the ground. And with the help of this metric, you can identify scenarios where you encounter high impact loading rates, such as high speed running or running downhill. And ultimately, this information is going to be really incredible, really interesting to look at, but it's also going to help you identify those danger zones and make sure you're not overtraining and putting too much stress on the lower body, and ensure you're basically keeping all that great training momentum you built with Stride's new training features. So both these features work hand in hand to build you up to your best and then keep you at your best. We have a special offer for Striders to upgrade to the next generation Stride. So if you're already a Stride user, you have data in your Stride account, you can actually head up to your Power Center account at stride.com/power center on the web, and you can access this, of course, via your computer or just open the web browser on your phone. You can head over to Power Center, and you're going to get a 20% special offer upgrade code. And this is applicable to the full price Stride. So if you're interested in these next gen features, running the next gen pod, you can upgrade and get access to your unique special code on the Power Center. And Stride is available today, so you can order it today at stride.com/store. And all orders placed today will start shipping in early November, is our expectations. And here's another great benefit. If you're new to Stride, or for example, you already have the Stride membership, we've kept the same great price on the Stride Plus Stride membership bundle. So, for example, if you're new to Stride, you want to try out Stride Plus the Stride membership, you can head over to stride.com/store and purchase Stride at an even lower price and then commit to the Stride membership for 6 months. Or, for example, if you already have the Stride membership and you want to access this same great price, you can buy Stride and use your existing membership credit to pay off that membership commitment. So, in some cases, this can be an even better deal than saving 20% by checking out the Stride Plus membership bundle if you're already paying for the Stride membership. Definitely something to check out. Just to recap, here are some great takeaways. The first takeaway is Stride's improved responsiveness is enabling you to respond to any challenge, whether it's presented by the terrain, presented by a workout, presented by the weather. You can respond to that a lot faster. Nearly instantaneously, you can respond to that with Stride's improved power responsiveness. So this is going to allow you to, overcome challenging conditions, pace more challenging workouts better. Number two, sustained performance. The lower body stress tracking with the impact loading rate is going to help you identify those danger zones and ultimately sustain your performance that you built up with Stride's more responsive power value. And takeaway number three is completing the picture of who you are as a runner, going A to Z from your sprint capability to your endurance capability. Stride can now fill in higher quality data in the power duration curve and give you that complete picture A to Z. So we're going to have a lot more live streams. We're going to be talking about some data, talking about these features more in depth over the upcoming days and weeks. So I definitely recommend to subscribe to Stride on YouTube if that's where you're watching, or follow the Stride channel on Facebook and get notifications on live streams. Keep asking questions because we have a lot more to talk about in the next generation Stride. So now we're going to take some questions and answers. So I know that's what a lot of you came here for, and we've already had some great questions roll in, and I'm going to be answering them in the order they came in. So the first question is from Jean. I would like to be able to use Stryd in standalone mode without a watch or smartphone. Is this possible by directly uploading the file to Power Center without a calibration factor? And actually, this is possible. This is possible on your current Stryd, and this is possible in the next generation Stryd. And we call this offline sync. So basically, what you can do is you can put Stryd on the shoe, go out and run. And Stryd actually has internal memory. It's going to recognize when your run starts. It's going to recognize when your run stops, and actually record an activity file to the pod itself. So after the run, even if you don't have a watch or a phone with you while you run, after the run, you can take your phone and sync all that data off, bring it into your Power Center account. This is a really great feature. For example, if you forget your watch is out of power, or for example, your watch didn't record your data, you're always going to have that activity file to analyze after the workout. We have a question from Jeff. With the wind version of Stryd, there is an issue when you're running in rain, snow, wet conditions where power outputs are exaggerated and jump stub report higher or lower power. Does the next generation Stryd fix this? So effectively what Jeff is asking is Stryd has an environmental sensor, and the environment has a impact on the power you're putting out. So Stryd's environmental sensor is temporarily blocked. Stryd might think you're putting out more power than you really are and report higher jumps in power. And the next generation Stryd still has an environmental sensor. It still needs access to the environment in order to see how much power you're outputting. And so the next generation Stryd is going to be subject to the same thing if it's temporarily blocked by rain or snow. And really on the software side, we want to make further improvements there so we can filter out those jumps and make sure they're not impacting your run, not impacting your data analysis. We have a question from Diana. How can I take advantage of the best pricing to upgrade my pod without losing my Pioneer membership? So for the Pioneer status on your account, all longtime Stryd users before effectively uh, early 2021 have a Pioneer status that give them access to certain features on their Stryd account without paying for membership. And this Pioneer status is always maintained on your account. You're never going to lose the Pioneer status on your account. So you can subscribe to the Stryd membership. You can buy the Stryd Plus membership pod, and that'll enable a Stryd membership on your account. But you're not going to lose that Pioneer status. And for example, if you decide, maybe the Stryd membership's not for me, I don't want to maintain my Stryd membership, you'll just roll back to Pioneer. So you'll never lose that Pioneer status. That will always be with you. Even if you buy the next generation pod, even if you subscribe to the Stryd membership, that Pioneer status will always be maintained on your account. Great question from Jeff here. Does the new design support offset shoelaces like the Nike Alpha Fly, or do we still have to modify the mounting? And the good news here is I have a pair of these shoes. I've been trying it with the next generation mount, and since that dual silicone anchoring on the next generation Stryd is so grippy, you're actually able to if you put the shoe on, then put the clip in, you slide that clip under there, it's going to grip to that shoelace, grip to the shoe, and it's going to be able to actually maintain the position where you put it. So with the previous generation version of Stryd, when you had the normal clip, that clip would slide around and the Stryd would point in the wrong direction. And when Stryd's pointing in a more extreme direction, the data collection might not be as consistent. But with the next generation clip, Stryd is going to stay where you put it, and it is going to be far more consistent run to run. So that's good news for anyone running with shoes with unconventional lacing patterns. We have a great question here from Justin. Will there be a dual pod support, specifically combining the next generation pod and the current generation pod? And for dual pods, so right now Stryd reports a power output, and we're actually to collect a really high quality metabolic power output from just a single podded system. There is, the question is what benefits would a dual pod system offer? And that's definitely something we're looking at, seeing if there's any unique value from having, for example, two Stryd foot pods. Right now, there's no feature set we're offering, and there's nothing that we've really validated where we can offer that really compelling value right now. That's something still in our research and development phase. And if we do find something really good there, it's possible there will be dual pod support for combining two next generation pods. And we're, in terms of the question of can you combine a next generation and current generation, that's definitely something we'll be looking at. Of course, the next generation Stride does offer unique sensors, and if our feature set does require next generation sensors, or there's some other compelling reason that might compel two next generation sensors, that's definitely something we're looking at. All of the questions you guys sent in, we're definitely looking at all the feedback, whether it's questions on, for example, dual pod or new features. Those are all things we're looking at. But there's nothing here that's coming or something I can say that will arrive. So, but continue to send these thoughts in, continue to send these ideas in because this is all looked at by our research and development team. It definitely helps influence the direction of the Stride product. We have a question from James. I'm asking about my current membership and being credited to a new purchase. So I believe what James is asking is if you do buy that new Stride Plus membership bundle and you already have paid for the Stride membership, are you going to be receiving a credit for that? Can you use that existing membership to pay off your new membership commitment? And the answer to that is yes. So if you have the Stride membership, you're able to buy that new Stride Plus membership bundle pod, that unique special deal we're offering at a lower price, and you can use your existing Stride membership credit to pay off that membership commitment. We have a question from Jean. You tell me if the analysis in the graph of power center will be meter by meter. I run 100 and meter, 200 meter on tracks, and I need precision. So the data recording is still going to be second by second with the next generation Stride, and the fidelity is much better. So you're actually going to see on a second by second basis um, what your data output is. Meter by meter, that's not something we offer yet. For example, step by step might be something we look at in the future. I know there's been questions on that before, but that's definitely something we're looking at. If we have any announcements on that, we'll definitely make that. But in terms of these new features, these can take months to even years in development for some of these, for some of the feature requests you guys send in. So, just know that we're always working on these things. We're always looking at these things, and definitely keep sending this feedback in to help influence the future of Stride product development. We have a question from Fozzie asking if you are currently on the monthly membership and buy the new Stride Plus membership, how will that affect my current membership payments? And for that, you'll just continue paying monthly. If you have a monthly membership payment, you can just continue paying monthly and get Stride for that lower price as part of the Stride Plus membership bundle. You'll just be committing to a 6-month commitment of payments, but you'll be able to get that Stride at the lower price. We have a question from Ryan asking, is the subscription model required to the lower body stress tracking? And for that, the next generation Stride is going to be offering the impact loading rate metric, the lower body stress tracking. So that feature set initially is going to be tied to the next generation pod. So you're getting the lower body stress tracking feature without the membership. So yeah, just with the next generation pod, you'll have lower body stress tracking. Question from Marco. One question, do you plan to run firmware updates down the line also for previous wind sensor? From what I understood, part of the improvements are also software related. And yeah, this is a great question because the question is, can we roll out some of these features? And for the most of these features we've introduced in the next generation Stride, they are dependent on those next generation sensors, materials, and design in the pod. The next generation Stride relies on those materials and stability and sensor improvements to offer many of the features. That doesn't mean that we're not going to be providing support for the wind sensor, because we're still going to be providing great software updates to help you analyze the data from that pod and get more use out of that data. We're only going to be focused on firmware updates for the next generation sensor moving forward. But for anyone who has a Win version of Stryd, you're going to continue to benefit from all the great updates we put forth on our Stryd OS app, on the Stryd Power Center, and continue to get more out of your data. And a follow-up question from Ryan, could we get a breakdown of which new added features and improvements are available with and without the Stryd membership? So all the things I talked about today with the next generation Stryd, those are gonna be available to anyone who purchases the next generation Stryd, and whether you have the membership or not. The Stryd membership, really what we're focused on with the Stryd membership is those advanced training plans, advanced training features, deeper insights into your core data, and just to touch on that point again, everything I talked about today will be available with the next generation pod, with or without the Stryd membership. And a question on the new run profiles I discussed. Curious how these run profiles will be implemented on the Garmin watch. Garmin has a normal run, a trail run that you trigger when you start your run. How would you trigger Stryd's type of run profile? And what you're going to be able to do here is open up the Stryd workout app, and we're going to have modes within the Stryd workout app to enable these run profiles. So, specifically, these run profiles, it's going to be updating your screen. It's going to be updating basically how the pod interacts with the watch and what kind of data you're receiving. So, that's all going to be enabled via the Stryd workout app. And here's another fantastic question. Will my critical power be different going from the Win Stryd to the next generation Stryd? And actually, there's going to be good continuity here. So you're actually going to even within your training cycle, you're going to be able to transition to the next generation Stryd and continue to use your familiar critical power value. Of course, the critical power value will improve with accuracy with the next generation Stryd, but you can make a clean transition there even in the middle of your training cycle. And here's a great feature request from James. If my run combines road and trail, can I use/allocate more than one profile? So effectively in the condition where you transition surfaces or transition runs, and this happens to me all the time where I go run to the trail. I have to run on the road to get to the trail, and then I start doing a trail run mode, but I want all that as part of a single activity. And that's a great feature suggestion. That's something we'll definitely take a look at. And initially, it's just going to be one. You're just going to select one profile and use that for the entire run. But I can definitely see a major use case here. Does the software let you plan a run between power zones the same as we do with paces on my Garmin watch? So what you can do with the Stryd workout app on your Garmin watch or on of course, the Stryd app on the Apple Watch is you can design a workout with power targets, and those power targets can be defined by you. They don't necessarily need to be defined to a power zone. And you can send that workout to your watch and actually execute very complex workouts that have very specific power targets that might not necessarily be tied to a power zone. So the answer to that is yes. And we have a follow-up question from Kenny regarding critical power and power duration curve from the next generation Stryd. The wattage for my runs might differ, so one might want to use the So one might want to use or start with the next generation pod for next training cycle versus middle or upcoming race. And the wattage values are going to be, there's going to be continuity between the wattage values. For example, if you go run at, the same intensity and the same conditions with the two different pods, you're going to receive basically very similar power values. The next generation Stryd is going to be more responsive to changes in effort, but effectively the levels will be the same. So you can transition even in the middle of a training cycle. So for example, if you're in a training cycle, if you're in the end of the year, in November, you receive the next generation Stryd, you'll be able to just move over to the next generation Stryd, continue collecting data. That's not going to interrupt your training targets. That's not going to invalidate your critical power. There's going to be great continuity there. Is the 20% available to anyone who has a former Stryd on a Stryd account? And the answer to that is yes. Anyone who has a Stryd account with data in it is going to have access to this 20% special offer code. So if you log into your Stride Power Center account, you're going to see a banner on Power Center and upgrade that code. Generate an upgrade code and use that to purchase the next generation Stride. We have a question from Rohan. What's the battery life compared to the previous generation Stride? And we maintain that there's no negligible difference there. So effectively, you can run 24 hours straight with on a single charge, and 24 hours straight of running typically translates to, for example, 2 weeks of running for runners putting a lot of mileage in, a lot of time in on the road, or for runners that run less frequently, you probably only need to charge Stride once per month. And we have a question from Anthony asking, does the next generation Stride allow us to disable the air power / wind detection capabilities? And the next generation Stride still does feature air power, and it does still capture the cost of overcoming air resistance, and that feature is always enabled. We're always collecting air power since that does make the power value more accurate. If you have a case where you want to disable the air power sensor, definitely make a post on the Stride community. Give us some more, context, some more insight on why you want to disable the air power capabilities, and maybe we'll learn something there. But the next generation Stride does still feature air power, and that feature is always enabled. Thank you, Patrick. Love the training plans and Stride Apple Watch app. That we've had a lot of major updates there, and we've had follow-up day updates. So we're really refining that experience according to user feedback, and I'm glad you're enjoying. We have a question from Paul asking, has any work been done to ensure the next generation Stride reports consistent data when using a number of shoes? So this is always a question for like data collection, is we want consistent data across any condition we run in. For example, we're changing shoes, we're running in different conditions, we're running between buildings. Sometimes, that's why a lot of runners have moved to Stride, is they're not satisfied with the consistency of GPS or another, pace or distance tracking solution, another power tracking solution. So it's really important that data is consistent regardless of the condition. And really, we have made a big focus on that with the next generation Stride, is making sure that data is more consistent in all scenarios, whether you're running fast, whether running with different shoes where you can't get that stable pod positioning, and with the new hardware filtering, the new improved sample frequency, the new improved dynamic range, we're capturing really the core motion of the runner better, and we're capturing that higher fidelity. Stride has that more stable attachment to the shoe and ultimately to the body to see that core motion better. So Stride is going to be accurate in all conditions. That includes better placement of the pod, collecting better data on the shoes. So you are going to see improved accuracy across many different conditions, and that applies very broadly, whether that is placing Stride in the shoe or in different running conditions. So I think people are going to be satisfied with the consistency of the data collection and everything the next generation Stride has to offer. And we have a question about how about sending workouts to choro swatches. And thanks for that feature suggestion. That's definitely something we're looking at as well. Right now, the Stride workouts can only be sent to the Stride app on the Garmin watches and the Stride app on the Apple watches. But we're definitely looking to expand that functionality moving forward. So that wraps up all the questions that have come in so far. If anyone has any more questions, definitely put those in the YouTube and Facebook chats, and I will answer those. To wrap up here, we are hoping to leave an instant impact in your training. As soon as you place Stride on, as soon as you take it out of the box for the first time, you feel the new materials, you see the new design, and you put Stride in the shoe, and the next gen sensors start capturing and run. We hope all that leads to an instant impact in your training, as that new responsive power data comes to your watch, you use new run profiles, you execute workouts in the next generation responsiveness, you start using the lower body stress tracking data. We hope all this leads to an instant impact to your run, help you reach your goals faster, help you sustain your performance. And as I mentioned earlier, the next generation Stride is available for purchase today. Head over to stride.com/store and secure your Stride now. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're going to be back later today at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That's going to be in roughly 7.5 hours, 8 hours. So if you have more questions, definitely tune in then. And